Hello there. Welcome to the Lost Love Stories, where we share beautiful, messy, real journeys of love and lost. I'm your host, Pam Baker, and today I have my good friend Sam here with us to share his story about his dad, Scott. And I'm really excited to have him. Sam and I, relatively new friends, but it feels like we've known each other forever.
Yeah.
Went to met on a service trip to Honduras this past March, so we've known each other. I don't know. It's November. What's the math
Yeah.
on that? I don't know. 6
Uh,
months? 4
8
months?
months? Yeah, 8
8
months.
months. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Good
like
amount of
besties.
months. Yeah, yeah.
It's forever now.
Yeah.
We've known each
Yeah.
other.
Feels like
So,
forever.
yeah, I know. So, thank you so much for coming on and sharing a story with us today about your dad. Um, and I obviously didn't know your dad, so I'm really excited to get to know him better. And I know you just had the 10-year anniversary of his passing. So I don't know. I just want to start by tell us about him. What was his name? What was he like? What did he do?
Yeah, well, I mean, first off, excited to be on this podcast. The second you started talking about it and obviously knowing your own story, uh, we've had some great conversations, really candid conversations, a lot quicker than most friends do,
Yeah,
naturally, which is
well,
awesome.
shared experience. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but, I'm somebody at 29 now, so I've been incredibly lucky in my life despite everything. I think unfortunately he passed away when I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
But as a person, you couldn't ask for somebody who was more inquisitive. Like he was the person who you would be walking through the forest and there'd be like a bug and you'd express a small amount of interest in it.
Mm-hmm.
And he would spend the next like 6 hours when you got back researching the bug
Oh my
and then
God.
talk to you about the bug. And I've got horrible ADD, couldn't care less about that bug. Like never
You're
again.
like 5 hours in,
I'm out.
59 minutes in, you're like, "Oh my god,
Yeah,
no."
it didn't.
Mhm.
The bug completely moved from my memory, but that was the kind of person he is. There would be,
That's so cool.
he grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Mhm.
His dad was a dentist, and so he was the oldest of three. He was
Okay.
always by far the smartest person in his family. My uncle and my aunt would agree.
He
Just
was a smart one.
yeah, he's the smart one, and they're both very smart people. But he was just always naturally really smart,
Mhm.
gifted. Um, I wouldn't necessarily say he was a people person, and that's not to say that he was not great to talk with or converse with. But compared to myself and my mom, it was always something he had to work for.
Mhm.
And so he
Oh,
would.
interesting. Uh-huh. Yeah,
Um,
'cause you're super people person. I
that's
mean,
just natural. I'm a lot like my mom in that way.
that's
But the
interesting.
way that he would approach conversations and he would approach the world was always through this like analytical, inquisitive view. So you
Mhm.
went to Vanderbilt and then went to Oklahoma for medical school, and found out after he died. He didn't even tell us because he was so humble, but he was such a good person, so driven. He won like Teacher of the Year when he
Oh, wow.
was like a
And you had no
medical
idea?
teacher or something at
Oh my
San
god.
Francisco. It's just like a random thing we find. Um, and so he always kind of taught us to approach life with such an intensity of curiosity.
Mhm.
And by that I mean it's not about like you're intense about everything, but you're intense about consistently being
Mhm.
curious and consistently trying to find things. The amount of times I woke up in the morning with a cutout article as if I needed to make paper mache about some random newspaper article about like a war in Kenya, and he's like, this is an
Oh,
interesting thing, you
wow.
might find it interesting.
Uh-huh.
It was a shocking amount, and it
Mhm.
didn't hit me then, but it hits me now. And I'm consistently watching random videos of
Yeah.
things that are happening all over the world. So
I
he
love
was a
that.
great person.
Do you think when he was doing it when you were a kid, where you were like, "Ugh, dad, I don't wanna learn about that," or, like, did it feel like pressure to know more and do more, or was it just one of those fun little quirky dad things?
No, I mean, partially that, but he
Mhm.
would go to dinner parties. He would have notes that he would have from when he would talk to somebody about little things that they did if they were, geologists or something
Mhm.
else. And so before he would go to these events, a lot of times he would have little notes or he would do a little bit of research. And
Wow.
it was this idea of being a master of none almost, but
Mhm.
a questioner of all. and having enough information to ask the right questions. And that's, I mean, I'm in sales now. I use that every single day.
Yeah, that's
But
actually, I wonder if that was one of the things he learned because he wasn't a natural people
mhm.
person, as one of the skills he honed to sort of to be better at that in those in social settings. Or is it just like that's
Yeah.
just what he did? You know,
No,
that's
I think I think he loved so many things, and he realized there's only so much you can learn within a book, or there's so much you
yeah,
can learn
yeah.
in a certain way, and certain things you kind of just have to experience it.
Mhm,
And that was a big shift, I think, for him in his own journey, and like for us as we saw it. And he
mhm.
wanted to be, there would be a ton of mornings where he'd be watching like the fishing channel. He was a transplant southerner, but tried really hard to be able to learn the ways of the South.
The
So,
ways of
you
the
know,
South.
we would, shooting shotguns, didn't really do it that much. I wasn't that big
Wow.
on it.
Uh-huh.
But he was like, this is really cool. What a, cool thing these people do. And
Wow.
would wake up in the mornings and he'd try to learn how to fish. He would buy 50 different lures. He was like, "Oh, this is what the guy on Versus said in the morning." And then we'd go out and he'd get really excited and we'd catch absolutely nothing. But then
Mhm.
he would
Yep,
keep going back and trying
play
to figure it
fishing.
out every single time. Yeah, he
That's
wasn't that
impressive,
good at it.
actually. That's
Yeah.
very cool. I love that. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody like that, actually. That's very cool. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He was a good man.
Wow, that's very cool. So you were 19 and you were already in college.
Yep.
Okay. And so, tell me about what happened.
So it was November of my freshman year, so that
Mhm.
first kind of foray into being independent in its own way. So I went to Wake Forest from
Okay.
Atlanta, so 5 hour drive.
5 hours. Okay.
So not far, but far enough,
Mhm.
obviously, where
Yeah.
it's you're not seeing him. Um, so just one weekend, I'm playing basketball in the like Wake Forest basketball gym, and I don't know obviously what's going on. And I come back and I check my phone. I've been playing for an hour. I got about 100 missed calls and texts.
Mhm.
And then two of my friends who both lived in Atlanta, they were trying to find flights and there was like no flights. So drove back with me
Oh, wow.
over, I guess it was Veterans Day weekend. It's like November 7th was when it happened.
Mhm.
And so I don't really know exactly what's happening, but I get a call from my mom. She's like, "Dad, something happened. He's in the hospital. He's going to be okay, but he's blah, blah, blah." And so like she was clearly distraught. And then I get to the hospital and like all of my extended family on his side's there. My
Wow.
brother's there, my mom's there. And like he's at this point, I had no idea what happened.
Mhm.
I get into the hospital and they say, um, he choked. Like everyone was out of town. My mom was in New York. My brother was at college too. He's 2 years older. I was in college, so we were all away from Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
And so he was just him and our family dog who like followed him around like
Mhm.
nobody's business. So it was just the two of them. And that breaks my heart all the time. Is she was there, our dog Sugar,
Yeah. Oh.
and couldn't do anything, but he choked on food or something, and he didn't. Shouldn't. This shows the kind of person he is, which is crazy. Was that he was just about an hour late to getting into the office, and nobody had heard from him.
Mhm.
And so they're like, "Well, Scott's never late. He's always here on time." And
Yeah.
we'd hear something. So then they, called to the house and brought him to the hospital. I get there not knowing all this, obviously, knowing it
Mhm.
after the fact. And, I go in there and it's just tubes. And anybody who's experienced seeing one of their loved ones in the hospital with like near the end of their life without
Mhm.
any sort of, it's just such a like the most surreal moment. And everyone says, you forget these moments, you don't think about it. Like I think about it all the time, like that
Mhm.
feeling you get when you touch your loved one's hand and there's
Mhm.
just not really a lot giving back. Um it's it's a very difficult thing to properly explain to somebody who doesn't get it.
Mhm. Yeah.
um those moments of just like pure tunnel vision mixed with like almost like cartoony circles going on of dizziness
Mhm.
and confusion, and like
Yeah.
you're it's just it's a major whirlwind. And so it was a real shock for
Yeah.
sure. It came out of nowhere, didn't expect it. And, 2 days later, he was like essentially been deprived of oxygen in his brain for so long that
Oh,
there
wow.
wasn't really a lot of alternative options. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was a very difficult drive down
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh my
Um,
God. That's
and
horrible.
then right after that, obviously in November, right going into exam season, luckily a lot of my teachers allowed me to move my exams, but
Oh, thank God.
staying in Atlanta was weird. There's so many weird moments right after that, but I
Mhm.
think the most difficult was I go from that and then I go directly into pledging in a fraternity
Oh,
over a
wow.
3 month period of time. And so I really didn't get a mental break because as a
Mhm.
college kid, your focus is on your social piece and like a little bit
Mhm.
of school, and then just trying to like fit in and be normal and try to create an identity for yourself. And I had lost such a big identity for myself that
Mhm.
those next 4 years became significantly more about, I think, survival
Mhm.
and just going day to day rather than growth and becoming kind of the man that I always wanted to be for him in a way.
Yeah. Do you think, I can't even imagine. I just know, like, with my boys going back to school after their dad died, um, I mean, everybody handles everything so differently. But I wonder if I'm sure you've thought about this because knowing you as I do, that on the one hand, it was probably kind of like a blessing almost that you had that to go back to. So it's like exam time, it's pledge time, it's all these things that were served as, in a way, a huge distraction and a very good excuse to not deal with your
Yeah.
emotions. So on the one hand, good. On the other hand, do you think that that changed the way you processed your grief and maybe prolonged the healing process? Or do you think, like, there's good and bad, right? So the pros and cons
Yeah.
of that whole situation that you
I
had to
think,
sort of in.
yeah. I mean, it's a good point. I think there's balances to it. I've seen people, some of my friends who have lost folks in college, and they're
Mhm.
able to do that and kind of compartmentalize and have, it's like, these are the moments where I'm studying and doing this, and here are the moments where
Mhm.
I'm crying. For me, I tried to just kind of numb more, so it was more about like, and by that, like, the coping was more like playing video games and stuff, not like heavily
Uh-huh.
drinking or doing anything like that. I want to be
Good.
clear on it.
Probably good.
uh,
Probably good
yeah,
choices. Mhm.
but I think it was. I don't think it was something that really helped with the distraction of that. Looking back, for sure it did. I think there was moments where it was really nice. There was a lot of beautiful moments, and I really want to credit, college friends, high school friends, and
Mhm.
I feel, again, I'll say this a million times in this podcast. I feel very lucky to be surrounded by the people I am. I mean, I
Mhm.
had one of the best dads you could have for 18 years, but it still is one of those moments where you're kind of going moment to moment, but you're not allowing any sort of emotion in, and that just prolongs that healing process
Yeah.
so aggressively that you almost have to relearn all of your coping mechanisms
Mhm.
as you get older. And that was probably the hardest piece about it happening during college.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I think about, again, like my kids, each of them, everybody handles things differently, right? And so, like, Duncan was so young, and he was in therapy from the time John was diagnosed. We just put him in therapy just to have someone to help him
Yeah.
walk through all that because he was 9 when John was diagnosed and 12 when
Yeah.
he died. Um, Sabrina was she was a full shit show. I've told you stories about that. She was a mess,
And
and
that's okay. I'll
and
be
it's
honest with you. That's
okay.
okay.
It's
Yeah.
okay. She's gotten out on the other side, and she just processed in her own way, and she's done therapy as well. The boys, yeah, they haven't, but they've all come 4 years now later to such a good place. Like, literally, I'm grateful every day. I'm literally every day I say, like, thank you so much to the universe, to whomever, to say they're happy, they're healthy, they're thriving, and they've gotten you don't get over it. You learn to live with the grief in a healthy way, and then they've done it in their own ways, and it's, I think people, hopefully most people get there. Not everybody does, as we know, but
Yeah.
I know you have. And
Mhm.
so, like, over the course of time, for me, and I know a lot of people, like, you don't even have a lot of memories of that first year because it's such a,
Yeah.
I don't even know. It's like your brain can't absorb, your body
No.
can't absorb the
It's
memories.
such a traumatic experience. Your body's
Mhm.
almost in like a fight or flight that's just like
Yeah, yeah,
nothing. Yeah.
yeah. Did you, were all of your friends up there at Wake Forest in your, like, did you go with friends, or were they all like pretty kind of brand new to you?
A little bit of both. So I had one of my best friends, still one of my really good friends to this day, is Annie Calfo, who ended up marrying one of my best friends I met up there
Oh, wow.
as well. Um, and that was somebody I went to high school with. I had
Okay.
a lot of them were new. Um, one of my, like, it truly felt like there was a lot of people there that
Mhm.
were new friends, but I was supposed to meet them when I met them.
Interesting.
And there's, I take with me so many of those lessons that I learned from how people treated me when
Mhm.
moments really aren't good. And
Mhm.
that's, I hate to say it, but as a friend now, whenever something bad happens, like, that's when my like friendship and loyalty piece starts to drive like twice and three times as hard now, because I remember those people and I remember how it works. And that's that's the thing that sucks for some of my friends that I've seen. um, when you go through those really bad moments and you
Mhm.
expect certain friends to step up and they don't.
Yeah.
And then and I think this was something I learned, was there are certain friends that you just have to put into almost boxes in your life, and you can't
Yeah.
expect everyone to be the person you want to go out with on a Saturday night and get brunch with on Sunday, and then have a 4 hour talk about grief and all the
Mhm.
difficult things in your life.
Yeah.
Sometimes those people are different. Sometimes they're together, but
Mhm.
what matters is that you're able to get a dose of everything you need at the right time. And I got lucky with that for my friends up there. But
Yeah, that's really good, and I could totally relate from even when
oh
my
yeah,
boys were first diagnosed with
I know
cystic
you have
fibrosis.
somebody in your head who you're thinking
Yeah.
about.
Oh god, yeah. There's lots of people. There's lots of
Yeah.
people, but if you focus on the people who really surprise you in the best ways, instead of like, "Ugh, I can't
Yeah.
believe they didn't come through in this
But
way."
that didn't frustrate me anymore. It's just
Yeah.
stopped frustrating me. Like, after those first 2 years,
Mhm.
everything frustrates you because you think about those stupid questions that everyone asks
Yeah.
because they don't know any better, and they're not trying to be rude, but they're just, oh, how are you doing today? Well, I kind of feel like shit. Sorry.
They don't wanna hear that. They just wanna
Most
hear that
important
you're
person in
good.
my life just died. Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
trying to get their checklist out, and it's the same way
Mhm.
when anybody turns 26. They're like, oh, you're getting married, buying a house, you're doing
Yeah.
these things, and they're trying to ask you your checklist of grief,
Mhm.
and you're not you're not obligated to give them what they need. You have to give them what you need at that
Yeah.
moment, and
What
if
they
even
need
if
more
that's making them feel
for all of
good,
us.
it's fine.
Yeah. We're so trained to make people comfortable that, I think so many of us don't go and even talk about our grief to people, even the people who are like really genuinely asking and not just checking the list, because we don't want to make people uncomfortable, and we don't want to make a weird situation. We don't want to, like, I remember so many times I'm like, I don't want to talk about this with you because I don't want you to be upset. On the one hand, I
Yeah,
don't want you to be upset because I don't want to make you sad, but I also don't want to then have to take care of your ass too because I'm already taking care of everything else.
yeah,
So that's part of it. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with any of that. So there's just
yeah.
that. But can you think of an example? Because people ask me, I just had somebody ask me the other day. They said that their neighbor passed away. Their and what can I do to help the widow, the wife? And it'd been like a week. What can I do? And I have definite things I say. Everybody's different. You don't know. You could say something to me that I get pissed off, but you could say it to her and she'd be like, oh, that's the nicest thing I've ever heard. Thank you so much. But what I said for him is like, don't say, let me know how I can help you. Just go help. Just
Right.
go mow her lawn
They
or
don't
go
know.
to the grocery
Yeah,
store. but and say give me a list, and if you don't give me a list, I'm bringing you groceries. Like, just do something, and don't ask, because nobody's going to say, oh, here's what I need. Most people aren't.
Right.
But do you have examples? Do you have a time when somebody did something so right that you're like, oh my god, that's exactly what I needed? Can you think
Yeah,
of
I
any?
mean, I can think of a million moments. I can't really remember the people, unfortunately,
Mhm.
in the first couple years. I think a lot of my friends from home were massive in that, where it was just, let's go get a meal. Like,
Mhm.
let's, like freshman year or sophomore year breaks, like, let's go play beer pong, like all the guys, like
Yeah.
stupid stuff. But it made me feel normal
Yeah, just
that
be
I
normal.
didn't have this like stain. Almost it feels like a stain in a way that you're like carrying around with
Mhm.
you, even though it's like not your fault, nothing, but it just
Yeah.
feels like this like there's that old adage of when you're in an interview, there's this whole psychological study where somebody tells somebody that they have this big scar right in the middle of their forehead,
Mhm.
and they put makeup on and everything, and they go into this job interview, and for half of them they take it off, for the other half they like leave it on or whatever. um, and after the fact they were like, oh, how did it go? And the people that didn't have the scar, they were like, I knew the interviewer was staring at my forehead the whole time, like I know it for
Oh,
a
wow.
fact. And that's how death feels, in that immediacy
Mhm.
of like you're pretending to be the person you used to be before you know that you can like shed the skin into something new. And
Mhm.
I think the biggest thing is elements of normalcy are so big.
Mhm.
From a story piece, like just getting ice cream, like going to Yogurtland, doing the things that I did in high school with my friends, and those things, those were important.
Mhm.
For people that are older, for like my mom, um, I mean, just getting out of bed was so hard.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that was like hard as a son, but like the only thing like I could do, or really anybody could do, would be like, you know what? Once a week, we have to get you out of bed and just do something.
Yeah.
And that's not always what's needed, but
Mhm.
the ability to have an opportunity for somebody, especially when you're going through grief, to be the outlet and
Mhm.
a semblance of normalcy, and have a candid conversation doing normal things, gives you that like gap and ability to say, okay, maybe I can be in the world again. Maybe I
Yeah.
can try to do this. And you don't have to avoid the conversation. I think avoiding the conversation is probably the stupidest thing you can do in those first year,
Yeah.
because
I
there's
agree.
nothing else going on. Every single little,
Mhm.
you eat a chip with guacamole and you're like, oh, you used to love guacamole.
I
It's
know, like,
just,
every time.
yeah.
I
But I would
know.
say just like presence is a present in the most
Mhm.
legitimate way at
Yeah.
that, in those moments.
Yeah, that's something too that I'm sure we talked about this at some point, but I remember being around a whole bunch of people because we went to the same college, and it was like a college
Mhm.
reunion, and it was the first time I'd been there without after John died, and like nobody mentioned him. Like, we dated all through college, so
Yeah.
like nobody talked about him, and I was like, this is freaking weird. And so, and it happens all the time, as you know, like
Yeah.
it happens all the time. But even here at home, I remember being with someone and they came up to me and started sharing memories about him. And,
Yeah.
and actually, they were like, that one time, God, we thought he was such an asshole. I laughed so hard. I was like, thank you so much for like, A, talking about him, but B, talking about when,
Yeah.
a funny story when he
I know.
like, it was awesome. I literally was so grateful for that moment that I was like, that is the best gift to
Yeah.
give me right now, is a
Do
story
you,
I'd never heard of, because he coached everything. So sometimes he'd
mhm.
make other teams mad and do, stuff like
As you
that. So,
should.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah. Totally.
I've got a question for you though,
Mhm.
because I was
Mhm.
having this conversation with one of my friends yesterday, kind of in preparation, because she's
Mhm.
one of the people who lost somebody as well, and like
Okay.
went through a lot of this with me. But did you ever have a moment where you have those moments of like, it's great, like telling stories,
Mhm.
but the opposite, where somebody's telling you and talking about him, and you're almost like, you don't deserve to be able to like mention his name. Like, how do you
Mhm.
deal? Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like,
I
I know
do.
they're trying to be nice, but you're like, you're not supposed to be able to.
Mhm. I can't think of a time off the top of my head, honestly. Can you think of one that you've had?
Yeah, I mean, I can, but the it was within the last like 2 years, so it's weird. It's
Okay.
like 8 years in, and it wasn't rude or anything. It wasn't like a bad thing said, but for me, I was like, at the moment, I felt uncomfortable after I reflected on it, but I was
Mhm.
almost like, you don't deserve to utter his name. Like you didn't like have the respect in some of these things. I
Uh-huh.
feel like when he was alive, so I don't know if you should. And that
Interesting.
was like a weird moment for me, and I
Mhm.
didn't know how to like handle that.
Do you was it because it was someone who didn't have a relationship at all with him or someone who kind of wasn't like, you don't wanna say an enemy, but someone who was, like, not even friends with him
Yeah,
or, like,
but it
false
was
sense
a
of
nice.
intimacy or something?
Yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, I think it was maybe that. I think it was
Mhm.
maybe that. I think there was a lot more of that in the first 2 years. So that's why
Yeah,
it surprised me when I was
yeah,
affected by it now.
yeah.
Because like
Interesting.
I want people to talk about it. I want
Right.
people to talk about him. Like I
Yeah.
want his spirit and legacy to live on.
Yeah, they don't want it to be
Um,
forgotten.
so it was
Yeah,
weird. I was just wondering
it
if you
is
had
weird.
that. Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe when I'm at year 8, we'll have that.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed it yet, though. Well,
Yeah.
because it was just his 10th year too. Do you guys so we have this thing because tomorrow, I told you tomorrow is John's 4 year,
Hmm.
whatever you call it, anniversary of dying, death
Yeah.
anniversary. I don't know.
We need
What
to
do you
get a new word for that because the
need
anniversary is
something
just like good,
terrible.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's terrible. And excuse me, it's funny because again, each kid, I told you Beanie called me yesterday and she's upset and like been marching toward the day. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, marching
Yeah.
toward the day. And I did that a couple weeks ago where I felt really triggered and really sad. Like things would just hit me out of the blue. And it's like a Facebook memory pops up. And
Yeah.
I talked to you that day, the Facebook
Yeah.
memory
I
of
was like,
like
who's
the
still on
last time we
Facebook?
had our,
Yeah, that
yeah,
was my
our
first
last,
reaction.
yeah, yeah. You did say that. You're such a jerk.
Yeah, I think that might
Um,
be a different age group for me. We're not really.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe a different age group, but it was our last family photo we ever took. And Duncan was at Cotillion. And I remember I was upset. And I'm
Hmm.
like, dang it, why
Yep.
did I send him to Cotillion? It was the last time we were all took a picture together. It was whatever, a week before John died. And I love your advice was so helpful because it's like what you were just talking about. Like he was 12. He wanted to be with his friends. He wanted
Yeah.
to be doing normal things. So that did make me feel better, but I still hate it. But
Yeah.
it's like that march toward the date. And, I was talking to Gavin, my oldest last night, and he was like, I'm so busy this week. I hadn't even thought about that being the day. And then, but my niece, who John was her father figure too, she asked me the other day, do we have plans on Wednesday? And I thought it was just because she's going out with her friends because she lives with us. And I was like, no, I do, but I'm just, and she was like, I said, why? Do you have something going on? She's like, it's the 12th. I was like, oh, yeah. So it's like interesting to, and in the first couple years we'd have his favorite food.
Yep.
We did Chinese lanterns in the lake. We did all these
Sure.
things to really just like acknowledge the
Hmm.
loss, right? And then you don't want to feel like you're forgetting about him either. But also, do you want to have this death date be the thing that you are celebrating in a
Yeah.
weird way? Question mark. You know what I mean?
A
So,
100%. Yeah.
what I mean, being the 10th, is there anything like how was your family or was there anything
Yeah.
that
I
you
mean, the first couple years, I think are just they're so heavy because
Mhm.
every day is heavy, and then all of a sudden you're building back up to this day that was like so traumatic and horrible. Excuse me. Um, those first couple of years, I don't even remember exactly, but I mean, I was in college too for a lot of
Mhm.
those. And like birthday, same thing, a lot of the similar stuff.
Right. Mhm.
What I really learned to do, which has become a part of my every single year birthday um, and it's like kind of the day he died, death anniversary. I don't know. We got to figure out a better
No.
word. It's horrible.
Horrible.
But I always used to grow up. We would eat a bunch of different barbecue places all around the country,
Mhm.
mostly around Atlanta, obviously. But and then I'd watch a lot of like war movies and like action movies. And he was the person. I'm a big boxing fan now. I watched
Okay.
boxing growing up, so every single kind of anniversary day, I do essentially the same stuff at night. And I do
Mhm.
it by myself because for me, I talk to my mom, I talk to my uncle, talk to my brother. But
Mhm.
for me, it's my ability to say, you know what, the spirit lives on. Like I have these interests. These are things that I love still. And it's like more of a positive spirit. And a lot
Mhm.
of those days too, I'll be like, you know what, maybe I'll go like play golf or go fish, or I'll
Mhm.
go. Fishing is not true. I haven't fished in years, but um, the a lot of the other things that he would like to do or have just genuine curiosity about new topics or something.
Mhm.
But every single night, no matter what, I will order barbecue. I'll sit down. I'll watch some war movie or something,
Mhm.
and I'll think about memories and have that
Yeah.
time. And it's
Oh, that's
positive
neat.
stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and I find a lot of the time now around the day, instead of like as the years have gone on, it's not as much about the sadness, the grief, this pit of despair. It
Mhm.
becomes a little bit more of, why don't I spend this next 2 weeks trying to emulate the person who he was?
Mhm.
And
I love
I
that.
I I think I'm very lucky because I know that there's a lot of people that die. I mean, there's so many people in the world. Not all of them can be good and great and
Mhm.
wonderful. And you said a really funny thing to me, like honestly, like right around when we first met. You were like, it's really nice that we like people die and like we love them and we want to make sure their spirit lives on. I think that's really nice, but like, where's the moment when I can call him an asshole? Why do we have to make him a saint? Why do we have to make all these people perfect in our minds and create this like air of
Mhm.
unbreakable harm? And um, unfortunately, I was young. I can't think of a lot of things other than like disorganization and like the most frustrating thing, whenever we would get in trouble, he would never scream. He would always
Mhm.
be like calm and talk about it, and I'm like going through puberty, and he's like trying to
Mhm.
speak in like a normal tone, and he's like, well,
Yeah.
why don't we talk about it? And I'm like, I don't want to talk. I want to scream. I don't know what's going on.
Emotions in here that need to
Yeah,
come out.
I know that I messed up. Okay, can we just move on? He's like, well, why don't we work on a way to learn from it? And I'm like, all right, well, you know what? You're not my principal, so why don't you get out of here? So annoying. But
John is
that
very much
was,
like that too. He would drive the kids crazy because he'd say they'd do something, whatever, and he'd be like, "That's unfortunate." And now and he'd let the natural consequences play out. Like that's
yeah,
unfortunate. You did this. Now that means this is going to happen to you because of your actions.
yeah.
Like
Stop
this.
telling me how to think. Just tell me what to think.
Yeah.
All right, I want to move on. I want to get out of here.
Shorten this lesson. Let's go.
Let me get out of
Oh,
here.
yeah. Get on with my life here.
Yeah,
So fun.
but I think my biggest recommendation for people on those days is to do an activity, eat a food,
Hmm.
um, do something that is like a positive memory that
Yeah.
just allows you to give you the space to really think deeply about the relationship, what it meant, and kind of like those moments in your life that you're like, these are things that I knew were
Hmm.
that person's as well. And I learned
Hmm.
it from them, or I grew from that from them. Even children or brothers or sisters, there's
Yeah.
things that you take from everyone. I mean, I know for a fact that you've got characteristics in your kids where you're like, damn, I wish I had that,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's cool. It's a really
Yeah.
cool thing, but the emulation of it is my best, is
I
the
love
best thing
that.
that I could do.
I love that. And do you see now, because now it's been 10 years and that's a lot of growth in 19 to 29.
Yeah,
There's a lot of growth and your brain is actually fully developed now. That's very exciting.
I
So
I don't think so. I
so
don't
they
think
say.
so. It's supposed to be. I don't think so
Supposed
though.
to be.
Yeah.
Do you see parts of your dad in you that maybe, I mean, obviously you can be grateful for them, but that surprise you, or you're just like also wicked cool. Like I see him in me as you've grown that maybe they weren't there, or maybe they were there and you didn't recognize them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest one is definitely that analytical piece of
Mhm.
going into conversations and creating purpose driven conversations. The last probably like year and a half, I feel like have been really impactful in that specific realm. And where I've noticed it the
Mhm.
most is, now I'm in sales, so it matters obviously, but it's taking a measurable interest in
Mhm.
what gives people passion within your conversations that really is the thing that I noticed the most, like
Mhm.
about him in the characteristic,
Yeah.
because
Love that.
I can't tell you the amount of times that I have gone into some sort of sales or networking or whoever it is. It doesn't even matter if
Mhm.
it's sales or not. And I've done some really niche research. The person might be from, Curacao, and I
Mhm.
do 30 minutes of research on Curacao, and I just to bring up one obscure reference about them, just to make the person
Mhm.
feel like, hey, I know a
Yeah,
little bit about you. Like
that's
those
really
are
cool.
those things that I really stick with me for
Yeah,
sure.
I love that. You're very good. You're a great people person. So that's just a really cool. But
Yeah.
to recognize that that's what he was doing then, even as a teenager, and taking that and honing that skill for yourself
Yeah.
too. It's a brilliant skill that
To be
all of us.
fair, that is the only people person skill that I got from my dad. Everything else was from my mom. So I want to make that very clear to the
Give her the
listeners. Yeah.
props. Give her the props. Oh my God. Well, okay. Have you how we're in November, so a holiday season.
Well,
How
what about
has
you? Sorry to interrupt. I
no,
know that you're the
please.
host, but I think we can
I
we can
know you
popcorn a
like
little
to
bit. Yeah, yeah,
ask questions, so yeah.
yeah. Well, I want to know, like, for you, what is your version of the same question that you feel like you're able to take with you from your years of marriage that's
Mhm.
kind of continued on? Is
Ooh.
it financial planning now? Is
Yeah,
that
it's so funny. I look at the things that well, first of all, I laugh because anybody who knows me knows, for those who don't know, John was a financial advisor, and he would try so hard to get me to come in and talk, do our annual meetings. The annual meeting was with him, but the annual meeting, all the things.
the
I'm like,
annual summit?
I was like, no, no, that's your job. I don't need to know how to do any of that.
Yeah.
So the fact that I co-authored a book on financial planning,
Yeah.
I just picture him all the time, like out there in the spirit world, just being like,
Mhm.
"Are you freaking kidding me? Really? You had to fight, kick, scream against me our whole lives, and then you turn around and wrote a book." But and we're doing financial planning workshops, and that's all the stuff he did.
Yeah.
So it's really funny that, and he was such a public speaker, and I hated public speaking my whole life, and I do so much
Really?
of that now. Oh God, yeah. Oh
That's
God.
surprising.
He made me do it. Like he's the one that was like, you got to start telling your story. You got to start with the CF world and the fundraising and all that stuff. He's the one that said, you have to be telling your story. And I would literally be even the other day for Rotary, we were just talking about
Yeah.
that. I spoke in front of Rotary. I was
Like
like,
a week
my
ago.
throat was so dry. And I went, when you're speaking and your mouth gets so dry because you're nervous, I was like, I need a glass of water. I'm smart enough to bring a glass of water, but I didn't dare to
Yeah.
pick up the water because I was literally like, my,
Yeah,
my hands
I know.
like,
That's it's my biggest fear every time. It's like yeah, it's the
yeah.
e- every single time I do any calls, by the way, 100%
Mhm.
I agree with you. I need water, but carry
Mhm.
on.
Yeah, so I just think it's funny. I think of that with all of the things that he was so good at that I'm now doing it to some degree, that it's just hilarious that I'm especially the financial planning stuff,
Yeah.
that it's just, he was always, well, I've been done a lot of leadership roles, but he definitely was a stronger leader, stronger all the finance
Yeah.
and the public speaking, and that's like basically all I do now. So
Yeah.
that's kind of funny, but it is cool to see it in my kids too, because Gavin's now a financial advisor. And this summer we got a
Mhm.
chance to, he can work virtually a lot. So we were at our lake house a lot, and he would be on his computer and working with clients, working with his team and doing all this stuff. And oh my
Mhm.
God, it was awesome because I'm just listening to him. I was with, I started dating John when I was 18. So he wasn't a financial advisor when I met him. And I heard him, actually, we helped him build his business in the early days when it was just he and I worked at the company too.
Yeah.
So, just, oh my God, the flashbacks of like the early days and how Gavin is so much like him. And like he has so many of the same things. And Duncan now too, because Duncan was so young, and now he's 16 and he looks the most like John. And he's the tallest, and he's got the
It's
broad
so weird to
shoulders.
see. Yeah.
It's so crazy. He's like just growing, like changing into his dad. It's so cool. I just love it so much. And it is like all of the pieces of him that are clearly very much still here and present. It's very cool. Thank you for
Yeah.
asking me that. Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
that's
Yeah,
great.
it is cool.
Yeah.
Where's the key to the
Um,
safes? Right behind you.
yes, it is right
Yeah.
there.
I've got my signed copy at home from the author.
I have the copy that you signed for me of my own book. Do you
No,
remember
that's
that?
not true. I got it. I got it back.
No, I
Yes, I
haven't.
did.
Did
No,
you
I
sign two?
definitely have. I
No, I
definitely got
signed
it
one for
back.
you, and then you signed one of my books from you.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You do still have it. Yeah, I did sign it. That's right. I forgot
Yeah,
about that. You're welcome, by the way. It's
okay,
that autograph might be worth something.
read her forever.
Maybe. We'll see.
Um, um, anyway, the holidays how have
Mhm.
they changed, if at all? How have they changed over the years? Um,
Uh, they've mostly kind of sucked.
mhm,
To
mhm.
be honest, like
Sorry,
it's,
sorry to bring up that.
yeah, I don't know. Like, he was the chef of the family.
Mm,
I've taken over a lot of kind of the Thanksgiving feast type stuff with some help from the family. But
mhm,
um, yeah, I mean, it's super super different. You're creating all of this is about family time,
mhm.
and it's not a full family anymore. It's like
Yeah.
a portion of a family, which is always a weird thing.
Mhm,
Thanksgiving is good. It's just eating and being thankful and
mhm,
remembering. And like this is obviously a death anniversary yourself in the same way where
mhm.
it's so
Yeah.
close to Thanksgiving where you feel almost obligated in a good way to feel thankful, feel positive for everything that you've had, everything you have,
Mhm.
and like reflect on the fact that, we're 10 years down and we're still standing. Like we're
Yeah.
still growing and changing and doing all these things.
Yeah.
Um, Christmas definitely is measurably different. I think gift giving for our family has just gotten harder because we're just like, I mean, it's hard to, we're dragging ourselves through years and we're getting
Mhm,
better at it. But we're implementing a new thing this year where each person under $20,
mhm.
I don't know, I said implementing like we're a corporation.
Because it
Um,
kind of probably feels like you're trying to implement
it
something new
does.
into this
Yeah.
system.
But it's the ability to try to continue to keep his spirit alive where each of us are going to give a gift to our dad. It's under
Oh.
$20, and something that's
Mhm,
stupid, silly, means something, whatever.
mhm.
And whoever
I love
gives
that.
it, it's a really nice way to be able to keep that
Mhm,
in the kind of in the world. Like this is a from I don't know when this was. This is a camera, like a
mhm.
really old camera that
Uh-huh.
my uncle had gotten, my dad had gotten, but my uncle had held on to it. No idea how it works. I don't think it does work, to be honest with you. But it's a super old, like 1910s or somewhere older camera. But
Wow.
like something like this that's just, you're like he loved photography. He was our
Oh, wow.
soccer team photographer and loved
Mhm.
taking photos. Um, but those are those things that you start to be like, oh yeah, that was a hobby of his. These are the
Yeah.
things that matter. So
I love that, actually. I can't wait to I'm gonna remember to ask you after Christmas
yeah,
and see what everybody did. That's really
yeah.
cool. And, I think you told me you're going to Paris, right?
Going to Paris in a week. Yeah, with my mom and brother.
Mhm. And that's sort of a just get out of Dodge because why not, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I think
Mhm.
probably
Mhm.
it's very weird. That's the Christmas is harder. I think
Mhm.
a lot of people, especially in that first 5 years, will tell you
Yeah.
um, the just being in public like sucks because you're
Yeah.
looking around at these families like it's almost like this movie for them where
Mhm.
they're the kids on the back of the shopping cart like
Yeah.
riding on it like
Yeah.
everything's perfect, we're going to make holiday cookies.
Mhm.
And that the issues and the problems they're going through and some of the things, I'm sure there are people doing all
Yeah.
these things, but you create this narrative in your head
Totally.
because you want to make yourself feel better so that and they're going through the stupidest things like, oh, they took my shoes and
Mhm.
they my sister like gave me like a bad gift and all these presents and blah blah blah, and they're just like missing the bigger picture.
Yeah.
and
Totally.
and it's just that part is so hard to just get out of your own head of judging other
Mhm.
people for being just like
Yeah.
this rosy sunshine view of the world.
Yeah, I remember that just triggered a memory. Two things, but one when the boys were diagnosed with CF, and
Mhm.
you're in all the moms groups, and you don't know, but trust me, you're in all the moms groups,
No, I've
and
been in all those groups. I'm familiar. Yeah. The CF moms groups. Yeah.
they weren't the CF moms group. They were the regular everyday moms groups. And I
Okay.
was so pissed off when people would be like, "Oh my God, my child has had this ear infection. Oh my God, it's the worst thing
Mhm.
ever. I don't know how we're going to survive." Meanwhile, my two children were just diagnosed with cystic fibrosis, which at that
Yeah.
time, was a death sentence. And I was like,
Yeah.
fuck off.
You know what though? That piece, the same thing that you're talking about, and when
Mhm.
I was dying, that was the biggest flip of the switch for me of recognizing like everyone's pain threshold is different and you
Mhm.
can't judge the same. That's the
Yep.
biggest issue is that I want to be able to say, people are like, "Oh, you don't understand death," and or you, I can't understand what you've gone through. And it's like, well, I'm not asking you to go understand what I've been through, and I'm not expecting you to understand how difficult death is because the worst thing
Mhm.
you got was not getting into the college you wanted to.
Right.
I'm just asking you to be able to understand that, think about that emotion and how horrible you felt, and then
Mhm.
just put it into this situation. Like, you don't need to compare our pain and
Right.
difficulty. Like, yes, your child's ear infection doesn't mean anything. I don't care about it. It really doesn't. My child gets 15 ear infections. I think he's the worst thing possible is going to die.
Mhm.
And like, the pain threshold thing and the comparison of it was the biggest
Mhm.
thing for me to be able to like move
Yeah.
on and carry on into the world though. But
Yeah,
sorry
it's one of
to
those.
interrupt.
No, it's one of those that's so true. It took me a long time to get there, but I agree with you that people can handle what they can handle, but also at the same time, that saying that you're only given, what is the stupid saying? You don't know how strong you are until being strong is your only option, or God doesn't give you more than you can handle, or whatever. Oh, I
Yeah.
always hated those two,
Yeah.
but
I know.
there's truth in that.
Mhm.
That some people could not handle going through the things that we've gone through.
Yeah.
Like, it would break them, and
Yes.
there is truth in that. There is truth. So, yeah, I'm much better
Yes.
at giving grace now than I used to be.
I know, I get it. I
Uh-huh.
I I've known you for a short time, but and this is with all due respect, I can imagine that to be the case. That you weren't as good at giving grace maybe earlier.
I get it, good. My
I could
sister-in-law, who
see.
was my college roommate, she actually said through this whole process with John, with being sick for 3 years and whatever, and, when we got to even toward the end before he died, she was like, "You're kinda like a new person. You're so much nicer now."
Oh,
Oh god. I know. But it's like
that's so
the
funny.
grace. The grace. People can only do what they can do, you know?
Yeah.
Um, well, I wanna talk a little bit about, we talked about the grief, the healing. Um, what kind of and we've talked a little bit about this, we've alluded to it, but the
Yeah.
lessons in the grief, the lessons of, how have you grown through the grief, I guess?
Yeah. I think one thing you had mentioned earlier too was, it's not my job, obviously, to make somebody else feel comfortable.
Mhm.
Um, that's something that I think everyone should know, regardless of the situation, whether that's
Mhm.
death or not. It's not up to you to provide the person the platform and the foundation to be able to feel comfortable in a conversation with you. Um, it's up to you to set the table. If they don't want to eat the meal, you don't have to force them.
Well, that's a good one. I like that.
So
Mhm.
I think that's a big one kind of from that lesson. And then the other one is, this one is a huge one. And this is, Jacqueline, who's that friend who she lost her
Mhm.
brother. She's one of my best friends. And so I've talked to her at length about a lot of these things. But um, the one major one is that just people can't read your mind. Like, they can't
Yeah.
know if you need appreciation or a candid conversation, or if you don't want to. And that was, you know for her, and I think a lot of people having experienced death, not being in a relationship with someone and then going into a relationship with someone, learning how to almost teach the person how
Mhm.
to be able to best discuss that element,
Mhm.
especially in like a serious or a, serious relationship and
Yeah.
friendship, of saying,
Mhm.
hey, like those first 2 3 years,
Mhm.
you almost get mad sometimes when your people are bringing it up because you're like, I don't know how to feel, I don't know what's going on, you brought this
Mhm.
name up, I'm so emotional. But the rest of your life, you don't want this, like, nobody to bring the person up. um,
Right.
and I think the teaching the person that, or what's going on in your head, and being super open holds so much sway moving
Mhm.
forward.
Oh, I love that.
um,
It's true.
and then I would say another lesson that I've learned, it's uh, I mean, I don't know if this is about death or not, if it impacted it, or if this was just like kind of how I was raised. I guess that kind of is a part of it because he raised me, so that might be a part of it. But
Yeah.
um, spend a good portion of your time and a good portion of your mental acuity of focusing on loyalty and giving to the people that matter the most to you, and not just the people, but your community, whatever that
Mhm.
means to you.
Mhm.
There's It's so much beauty in the struggle and beauty in the chaos, and there's too much in the world that is there for somebody like you to give, and you have no idea who might need you in a certain moment.
Mhm.
um, I couldn't really stress it enough of the people that are around you and they're there for you. You need to show up for them, and showing up does not mean having to be present all the time, texting, doing all these things. But when you're going through a death piece, showing up doesn't can mean whatever you need it to mean. But being able to give back to what they were able to give to you, because you don't know
Mhm.
how much they had to give up or sacrifice to be there for you, who's going through all this death.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's so much focus on the self throughout that
Mhm.
death experience, uh, that kind of turning it's on its head and showing, hey, you know what, this death really impacted me and the people around me, and this is really, really difficult. But once you give yourself time to grieve and understand what's truly happened, I learned this the last year, and I've talked with you at length about this, and getting involved in so many different
Mhm.
organizations and great charities and things that gave back. And my dad did that, but I don't think that it really started to register for me until this last year, that being involved in my community and being able to give thanks, not just verbally, but with my own actions, to the people that have really formulated my life since that moment.
Mhm.
Um, I like kind of get emotional thinking about this because it's just there's too many people in my head that I want to be able to give like a massive hug to and say thank you, and I
Mhm.
really want to be able to go into these communities and areas where they weren't lucky enough to have a dad like mine, and
Mhm.
people that were so important in their lives, and the ability to just give just a moment of your time or a little bit of your time to these people that either have meant so much to you, or you don't know how much they need a person, is like,
Mhm.
I think that changed the perspective of death for me in almost every single way, was starting to really make a bigger focus on that,
Mhm.
because death means nothing if the life is just meaningless. So
I I love that because there's so many great truths in everything you just said. It's like same with John. And you don't want to dismiss your loss by saying I'm so lucky that I had a great dad, because so many people don't have great dads. And so I just need to be grateful for the time I had. That's
yeah,
something I've balanced. I struggle with my kids because they are very lucky, and we all know people who haven't had great dads. And but taking that and like paying it forward, like you had a great dad, so go be put some goodness in other people's lives who haven't had that. That's beautiful. And then there's so much that goes with you know you we all know, like when you do good for others, it actually does make you feel better, you know?
Yeah.
It not only makes you feel better because you're doing something good and you're changing someone's life, but um it's also self-serving in a way because there's so I know there's another saying that I can't even remember, but is self-serving in the way that every time you do, you can change somebody's life and make
Yeah.
somebody's life better in a way. You do feel by
Yeah.
default you feel better about yourself.
And that's okay. That's
It is
okay.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is like it's not self-serving, but it could be self-serving in a way, But it is a way to bring joy back into your life. I mean, that's how I ended up going on to Honduras in the first place. Was I felt joyless, and going there, it gives you perspective. Like, I have really hard things that have happened to me and bad things that have happened to me in my life, but those people down there who literally have nothing and they all die so young and there's all these things happening, they're so happy.
Yeah.
They just are grateful for everything they have, and it shifts your perspective, but you're also bringing goodness to their lives just by helping them pour a cement floor or
Yeah.
build a toilet, like it like breaks it down.
Smallest things. Yeah.
Yeah, breaks it down. And that there's just so much goodness, and that was my path back to joy. So it's like your similar thing is just doing good, putting goodness out in the
Yeah.
world. It just does bring so much joy
I
and
think
spreads
it's the consistency of focusing on the things that mean something to you
joy. Hmm.
that drives you towards kind of that progress of being a human being again. And
Hmm.
it doesn't, for a lot of people, maybe philanthropy is not the way, and there's
Right.
certain obviously differences, and I'm not going to like force or ask anybody to do that, obviously, but there's like those moments of recognizing that if you're consistently doing something beyond just for yourself, and you're seeing either it's a passion,
Hmm.
it's a love, or it's giving your heart beyond just focusing on yourself, that's when you start to recognize that there's a world out there around you,
Hmm.
not just the one that like shattered and bruised
Right.
inside you.
Right.
I want to read something to you also,
Okay.
because I know we're getting close to the end of time, but
Hmm.
I wanted to, this is when I was, I wrote this when I was 18, 19, at the celebration of life for my dad.
Okay.
And the rest of the speech is in my like college email, so I don't have access to it, but I saved this in my notes page, and this was the last paragraph that I wrote. And this is like the first year that I felt like I have actually living up to it. So it
Oh,
felt
okay.
pretty good about it. So this is
Yeah.
the last thing that I said at the last paragraph. Dad, I know that you're gone from this earth, and that is something I can never have back. But I want you to know that I will never stop working hard, never stop learning, never stop striving to be a better person and to become the man you've always wanted me to be. I love you more than I can even begin to explain, and I'm so excited to see the sweet living situation you have up there in heaven. Thanks for being my hero.
Oh, I love that.
And this at 10 years in, for those
Hmm.
people out there who are listening, who are 2, 3, 4, 5. I know it's a long road, and this is the
Hmm.
first year that I've truly felt like I've lived up to the
Wow.
promise
Wow.
since.
That's big. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. I love it. I'm impressed that you spoke. That's hard, but it's so important too. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
I owed it to
Well,
him.
I know I feel the same. I mean, it's really, really hard. It's really, really
Yeah,
hard in that moment and being so full of all the emotions, but it's important. It's
yeah.
important. Anything else that we didn't cover that you want to share? And
Um, I think the main thing to share is that have conversations, talk to
Mhm,
people,
mhm.
get perspective, and I think thank you for having me on. I think this is a really good forum to be able to have these good love stories,
Yeah,
um, and just keep being you. I think I appreciate it, and
yeah. You
looking
keep
forward
being you.
to looking forward to to continuing on.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I love this conversation. It was so good. Um, and I knew you'd be awesome. So you did
Yeah,
not disappoint, of
I hope it
course.
recorded. That would
I
be
know. Yeah,
that would
that would
be
be
run it
terrible.
back.
Do over. Take two.
Yeah.
It did happen with Jake, actually.
Oh,
That's why I
that's
test
tough. That's
now.
smart. That's smart. I love that.
Lesson one. I learned it.
Do you have anything that you want to leave as final thoughts?
Um, Let me think. I mean, I think that maybe just the grace, everybody having grace with people. There's so many preconceived ideas of how to do grief and how to do loss.
Mhm.
And everybody is so individual that you just have to have grace and patience and not pretend to understand what people are going through because you don't know. And someone in my widow group, she's like a beautiful writer and very articulate. She wrote about grief being like waves, and the waves will always come. They just get smaller over time, and you
Yeah.
don't know when they're going to hit. And when they hit, honor the grief, like honor the loss. You just got to find a way to not live in it, because we still have life to live and still have so much joy to feel and to give to others. And I
Yeah.
think that's if we can all just help each other get back to that place of being able to receive and give joy, that's a much better, healthier place to live than in the grief
Yeah.
and loss. Some people get so caught up in that's the best way to honor their person is by living in the loss and the grief and the heartbreak.
Hmm.
But we all know, if you think about it intellectually and not emotionally, that they would never want us to live there. So,
Yeah.
just finding the thing that will bring you back to joy and start living a joyful, like fulfilling life in whatever that looks like. That would,
100% agree.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
great point.
You should have your own podcast because you like to ask questions.
No, well, that's why you want to have a guest on there that asks the questions, because you're the people want to hear. It's not just the guests.
Well, you're an awesome guest. Thank you so
Oh, thank
much.
you. Thank you for
And
having me.
yeah, I love it. I love the story. I love learning more about your dad. And thanks for sharing them with us. It
Yeah,
was
of
amazing.
course. Yeah.
Amazing. So I'll do my little closing, which I
Okay.
still one day I'll have it remembered.
No.
I'll have it
You
memorized.
know,
But
what's
yeah,
great is, like, if you never said any of that and you just pretended like you weren't reading, nobody
I
would
know.
know. But now
Nobody
everyone
would know.
knows.
But
Yeah,
that's how
now
transparent
everybody
I am.
knows.
I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I'm
Yeah.
just rolling with it. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Love
But
it.
I like it. I like the little closing because um it's just kind of wraps it all up.
It's a
But
storybook. You had an opening and now you need to
now I need the
close it.
closing.
Yeah.
The end.
Hmm.
Not yet.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Here it is. Ready?
I'm ready.
Thank you for listening to the Lost Love Stories. Sounded good, didn't it? If this comes, if this,
How do you want me to take this seriously? That's not fair at all.
and I don't edit anything, by the way, either. So all of this is going to be just done.
Oh, damn
I
it.
just, I just keep it real.
Okay, good. Good, good, good.
Okay, here we go.
I'm
Thank you
ready.
for listening to the Lost Love Stories. If this conversation touched you, please share it with someone who needs to hear that love continues, even through loss. And until next time, take care of yourself and take care of your heart. And that's it. So thank you. Mwah. All right. Bye.
See ya.